I want you to ask yourself a few questions. And if you are able to answer any one of these questions, this episode is for you. Do you currently have a business that's generating revenue and in need of a business loan, but don't have any collateral? Do you have a business idea that you believe can bring value, but you don't have the money to get started? Maybe you have a skill that's in high demand and want to build a business around it, but don't have the money for it. Like I said, if you answered any one of these questions, this episode is for you. If you haven't heard about it, you've been living under a rock. The Guyana Development Bank is coming, and in this episode, I'll be breaking down what this will mean for entrepreneurs who are building small and medium-sized businesses here in Guyana. I'm going to also be sharing with you the resources you need to get started, but more about that later on in the episode. This is The Breakdown, and I'm your host, Latoya Jack. The Guyana Development Bank was announced on June 4th, 2026, and has caused a stir on social media and among Guyanans. There are many conversations and many debates about who this will benefit, how this will benefit, and what this actual process would look like. The bill promises a never before heard of in Guyana loan facility of up to $3 million at 0% interest rate with no collateral down. For context, commercial banks offer loans from interest rates of 8% to as much as 35%. So your favorite bank, the one that you really love if you're starting a business at those rates, may not necessarily be what's right for you. So that is where the Guyana Development Bank comes in. At these commercial banks, interest rates are charged on compounded and reducing balances and are used to calculate how much of this money you need to repay. Repayment timeframes may vary, but it will be based on the operational policies as defined by the bank, as well as the size of the facility that you're looking for, and also what's the reason you're borrowing the money. And it depends very much on the business that you're building. In addition to that, the bank also will not be requiring collateral for the loan, thereby classifying these loans as unsecured facilities. The management structure of the bank is similar to other entities in this category and will be governed by a board of directors who will be responsible for the management of overall credit, risks, and governance of the bank. Their responsibility will be to ensure the bank meets its main objective, which is to provide affordable financing and business support to small and medium-sized enterprises. The bank will be funded by the government of Guyana and has already seen an allocation of 40 billion Guyana dollars, I said billion with a B, in the 2026 budget. So it's important to note, this is not free money. This is not a grant. Borrowers are expected to repay their loans, and defaulting on a loan will only make it harder for you to access finance in the future because it will damage your credit score. I assure you, it will damage your credit score. So please, don't ruin future progress because of one opportunity that seems so good to be true. You want to take all advantage of it. The most important thing here is that the Guyana Development Bank is not a commercial bank. That's the first thing you have to understand. A commercial bank is designed to make profit and is designed to generate an income to pay its liabilities, its staff, maintain the building, the property, to look nice, run promotions, marketing. The Guyana Development Bank is ultimately a state entity. which falls under the direct responsibility of the Minister of Finance. As such, this money and these monies that are made available for funding these projects are state funds and must be budgeted for and passed in the National Assembly. It is completely normal for a country like Guyana, which is developing at the rate that we are, to have a development bank. That being said, this has serious consequences for the future of the nation if managed poorly. This money belongs to our children, yours and mine, and I don't know about you, but I want my daughter to have some of this money available to her when she has a brilliant idea or wants to start a business in the future. So pay back the money. You might be thinking, why does Guyana need a development bank? And yes, I've mentioned that this is completely normal for countries in our current financial situation. While the bank is primarily focused on small business owners, the intention is to stimulate growth among this category of business owners. The bank is designed to move persons from small scale to medium scale and beyond, while also working as a bridge for startup stage entrepreneurs and entrepreneurs in the idea stage to get them to the growth stage. You may be able to start with the Guyana Development Bank, but your business is expected to grow and build a relationship with the commercial banks. This is just a bridge. This opportunity is meant to create a soft starting point. It is not the end or beyond. Now, the Development Bank is also filling a gap that has been debated over many years by the private sector about the cost of finance here in Guyana. As I mentioned before, the cost of borrowing a loan can be as much as 35% per annum, which just reflects a 1-year period. For a small business, that can be considered crippling debt, and thereby leading to many businesses failing, not due to bad ideas or due to their inability to build a business successfully, but actually due to the lack of financing or the lack of access to finance. Cash flow in a business is king. You might be concerned about profit, but if the money isn't coming in, then, as my grandmother would say, you're spinning top on soft. So the government of Guyana has stepped in to create a cushion and encourage growth in the private sector. I was in my business journey and I was looking to grow my business. I had bid for a contract with a very large company, and honestly, I didn't expect to win. I really didn't expect to win. So when I was awarded, you could imagine I was at a loss as to how I was gonna pay for this order. Where was the money gonna come from? Now, the company's order was over 200 items, totaling approximately $3.4 million. I did not have that kind of money. I did not. I eventually made a deposit on the order by borrowing money from family and friends, and simultaneously at the same time applied for a loan from iPad. You know iPad? Good old iPad? For the balance of the order. It took some convincing because, as far as they said to me, this was the first time that they were doing something like this. And now it's called invoice financing, and it's offered by other commercial entities. But back then, iPad was my only bet. Using the loan, I was able to pay off my supplier, pay for shipping, clear the order with some money I had generated from sales in my business, and then deliver the order to the client. Now, because of this order, I was able to build a relationship with that company. Not only was I able to build a relationship with the company, my client. I was able to build a relationship with IPED, my financier. And in the future, I was also able to use this as an example of a successful contract that I had done, which meant I got bigger contracts with other companies and other agencies. Now, this is just one example of how access to finance can change the direction of your business. The bank is also going to be pushing for collaboration amongst complementary businesses and large groups. So this doesn't have to be an individual thing. Business is a team sport, and the Guyana Development Bank is creating an avenue where more players can get involved and play to win. Now, priority will be given to larger groups who are able to show potential for success. And remember, the intention is to move from small business to large business. We're going from small things to big things. And that is the big takeaway. Now, as Guyana continues to grow, a rising tide lifts all boats. So be careful you're not swimming against the tide. It's important to note that when you collaborate to position your business for bigger markets, it is an opportunity for you as an individual to grow, but also it's an opportunity for you to grow as a unit without facing all of the risks and the dangers of the hand by yourself. All of this sounds great, but you might be saying, oh my God, Latoya, when is this coming? Because that's the number one question that seems to be circulating in all of this discourse. When is this coming? So the start date of the bank depends on a few things. The legislation is currently in the Assembly. So the debate and the passing of that legislation in the National Assembly has to happen first. Then the selection of the board of directors and the hiring of a CEO. Remember I said there's a management structure in place that's very common, and that structure includes board of directors. When the board of directors and CEO are hired, the natural next step is to hire the rest of the team, put them in a building, and launch to the public. While there are no official dates set for the bank, business owners are encouraged to fine-tune their business plans, acquire their compliance documents, and spend time ensuring they have a healthy credit score before the launch of the bank. In the meantime, I, of course, want to leave you with some homework. Here are some questions you can ask yourself if you're not sure how you can start a business. First question, what do you do well? Me, I talk, I teach, I train, I share knowledge. Here I am, sharing this information with you. What proof do you have that you're good at this particular thing? For me, I've worked in corporate training for many, many years and continue to do so. What makes you better than everyone else? Quite honestly, if we're talking about me, it's the fact that I do my research, deep dive, look for the information, and then deliver on that information. Answering these simple questions can bring you closer to a business idea. Not just a business idea that you think is going to work on the market, a business idea that you might be interested in. Because one thing I'll tell you about business is it requires a lot of passion, patience, and grit. And if it's something that you're not interested in, you're not going to stick with it. And that just means you're going to default on the loan. And if you default on the loan, you make it that much harder for when the right idea comes along. So listen to my voice when I say, make sure it's something you are interested in and passionate about. That will help you to build a legacy for you and your family. Now, I did promise you something at the end of this video. As a thank you for watching and to support your journey, I've included a business plan template to get you started. So what you're going to do is you're going to scan the code on the screen to access it. If you want help with this business plan, clarifying your idea, I meet once a week every Thursday in my Business Builders Bootcamp community. It's an online community where I share and I help business owners who are launching out and business owners who are looking to scale their businesses. If you're interested in that, the link is in the bio. I hope this was helpful, and bye for now.